One of West Virginia's earliest mine wars, which happened in 1912 to 1913 here at Paint Creek, was a prelude to much more bloody events like Bloody Mingo, Bloody Harlan, and the Battle of Blair Mountain. And this is often overlooked because comparatively there was a lot less bloodshed. And as I was explained by James, a relative of one of the Baldwin Felts detectives killed at Matewan, he said that these immigrants would come over and basically fresh off Ellis Island would be given a contract to sign. Oftentimes they couldn't read it, they didn't speak English, or they weren't given the time to read it. They just said, sign this, it's your job. They showed up and they would find out that this contract was an 1890s railroad contract. And stipulated in the contract was, if you are caught talking about a union, you would be given about 6 weeks to stop. And this, James said, was pretty lenient for the time. And then if they caught you doing it again because they had a network of spies within the coal workers, then you would be given another chance with 2 weeks. And if they caught you doing it a third time, they would send you out of the camp. And the whole town was owned by the company, and when they kicked you out, your scrib became legally useless tender. So you were out on your own. Oftentimes they would set up along the railroad tracks, but because the railroads were company property, they would kick you out of there too. And so up came the railroad workers down this river, because there's a railroad track just out in town along the Kanawha River. And they came up here to establish the Paint Creek community, basically a tent colony. But there was an old railroad that ran up here. And in 1913, the sheriff, some deputies, and some Baldwin Felts armed up with a machine gun, rifles, and a train and drove through the camp. And they killed one person. At least that's what they say. But they drove through this community with a machine gun, so it makes you question that narrative. And this was solved politically, but eventually it would lead to more bloody massacres in the future. Heading up to Lenz Creek right now for the Lenz Creek strikes of 1912 and 1913.
In 1,000 feet, turn left onto West Virginia 61 South.